Syria has very little oil. Production was declining even before the war. They're a net importer of oil. To get the oil markets excited, you would really have to bring in Iran. That's what everybody is worried about. Here's how that could happen. It's important to realize this is a Middle East story that's not about Israel. It's about the two main branches of Islam, Shia and Sunni. Syria is a majority Sunni country, but it's been ruled since 1970 by the Assad family. They're Alawites, a branch of the Shia group, and so if they fall, that probably means that the Sunnis take over in that country. Now, that is not what Iran wants. Iran, ruled by the Shia, Iraq largely ruled by the Shia, but other than those two countries, they're surrounded by Sunnis. So they're worried that they could be marginalized, they could be put into trouble if Sunnis take over in Syria because it is such a linchpin. So we're not sure how Iran would react. If Iran makes threatening noises here, then you've got a problem for the oil markets.
All right. And now what about other U.S. interests, aside from oil?
Well, the Obama administration's tried very hard to stay out of this. They've been trying to get out of Middle East wars, not get into it. But he may not have a choice. It's partly humanitarian. If they've used nerve gas, you don't want to be seen as condoning that. But in general, they've been willing to put up with the casualties there as a cost of the civil war. But what's happening is millions of people are fleeing over the borders, and countries in that region close to collapse trying to handle this. Jordan doesn't have enough water for all these people. So you've got a humanitarian disaster. And then second, if there is no functioning government, and they've really split into a lot of factions in Syria, the opposition at this point, if nobody is in clear control, you've got a civil war that rages on, and you've got a breeding ground for terrorism as you had in Afghanistan. The problem is the administration doesn't have a whole lot of choices here. Instead of arming insurgents early, taking some control over who might end up in charge of the country because they tried to stay out of it, now you've got arms flowing in from the Sunni countries. It's become more of a religious battle, and it's become a real problem for the administration.
And of course, this weekend, all of us were following, or a lot of us via Twitter, Israel and the airstrike. How does this change the dynamic?
Well, Israel also trying very hard to stay out of it. They know they can't influence the situation on the ground in Syria. What they're worried about is weapons falling into the hands of their enemies, particularly Hezbollah, which is a Shiite group in Lebanon, part of the Lebanese power structure. They don't want the Sunnis to take over in Syria either. They've also got Hamas and the Palestinians who are Sunni on their southern flank. So they're arming themselves. The Israelis don't want them to have more modern weapons, bigger weapons that could be turned on Israel. So they took out weapons destined for Hezbollah, but they're trying to lay low at this point and try to stay out of the conflict.